You gonna be in the Wheezy Monday video, Birdie? You gonna be in it? Okay. I think she does. Come here. Come here. Oh. Nope, I guess she doesn't. All right. The theme of this video is the importance of closure, but I didn't call it that. I called it whatever day I'm on for bullet journaling, because you guys, you click more when it's a day, number, and a thing I'm doing. More people click. That's true. That's just the way you work. That's the way I work. That's the way humans work. If I would have said the importance of closure, that's kind of broad and vague and specific in a way that a lot of people will be like, what is that? Ugh. Ugh. I'm not going to click on that. That's just the reality of how we work, you know? And there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, in an ideal world, you'd come up with the greatest title that's poetic and deep and meaningful and really encompasses everything you're talking about in a video. But that's not what the title's for. That's what a title of maybe a book is for, or a movie, when the main draw for what you're watching is not just the title of a thing. Like a book, I tend to read books that friends have recommended, or a lot of people are talking about, or that are well reviewed, or about a specific thing I'm searching for. I'm not gonna, like, Dune. If that wasn't already a famous book, you're like, you walk into the bookstore and you see Dune, and you're like, oh, I love wispy sand piles, or whatever a dune is. I'm gonna check that out. No. Or is that how you would describe a dune? A wispy sand pile? I don't know. Or a movie. Like a title can be intriguing, I guess. Only if, like, there's some, like, Scream 2. You're gonna have a good idea about the movie based on the title. And you're like, oh, that's the sequel to Scream. I'm gonna go watch that. Maybe, if you liked the first one. But if it's just sequels aside, but even then they apply too. You're not watching a movie because of the title. Maybe partly, but you're probably watching it because of the trailer or the preview, and what others have said about it and written about it, or what actor is in it, or what director directed it, or what screenwriter screenwrote it. You're not really. Titles only matter a little bit. And thumbnail, the equivalent of a thumbnail for a movie, I guess, would be the cover of a DVD or which don't exist, or like a thumbnail on Netflix or something. And that might have a little effect. Doubtful it has a huge effect on Netflix. And a book would be the cover of a book. Maybe you look at a cover of a book and it looks pretty cool. That might draw you in a little. That's not going to work on like a large scale, though, I don't think, from the author's perspective. I think it only matters a little bit, probably. But YouTube or podcasts don't really matter. If you're listening to this on the podcast, titles of a podcast episode really don't matter. You're not browsing your podcast browser for titles. You're browsing for the series, the show, the host. I mean, within your subscriptions, maybe you're browsing titles. So it matters in some sense, but to find a new thing, matters very little. YouTube, aside from people who are already subscribed, even then it matters. I have found after years of doing this that by the way, I didn't know, again, this is how this works. I didn't know I was going to talk about this much. So maybe this won't end up being what I said it was going to be about, the importance of closure. That's just the theme that I thought of as the theme that tie everything I'm going to talk about together. I don't even know if I'm going to get to everything that I wanted to talk about. But aside from subscribers, but even then, subscribers, I've noticed over time subscribers starting to not watch. Like way back in the early days of YouTube, it was like you subscribe, people watch. It was like you had a dependable audience. Over time, they stop watching even their subscriptions because they start to subscribe to so many things that you can't watch all your subscriptions. And there's so many other options, and things get old, and you just fail to unsubscribe. You just leave it in the subscriptions even though you don't watch it anymore. Things get old to people. That just happens. Doesn't matter if it stops being good or not. Things just get old. Maybe not always. Especially if the person you're subscribed to constantly reinvents themselves, which I have done, not constantly, but I've done. But outside of subscribers, you got the general public, to get them to click on a thing. On YouTube, on social media, I guess it's mostly specific to YouTube. Thumbnail, title, and news stories, I guess, rely on titles and pictures. Probably more so titles. I think with YouTube as well, it's more so about the title than the thumbnail. But the thumbnail matters a lot too, but it's mostly title. That's your way of knowing what it is. You're not getting a trailer for the video you're going to watch. You're not seeing a commercial, an ad on TV for a video you're going to watch. You might have others pushing a video to you on other social media. Even then, you're going to need to have a good idea what it is, unless they've given you a good description. I guess you can go to like our videos on Reddit and see what everyone's talking about. Go to the trending page. But from my perspective, I can't rely on a video going onto our videos or on the trending page or recommended section of YouTube. I have to assume my video is going to only be the most likely way you are going to see my video is by happening upon it by browsing other things. And you're going to see a title. And that title has to draw you in somehow. Or doesn't have to, but I mean, that's the goal. Like if I spend weeks, months on a thing. I want people to see it. I feel like it has value, but I have to somehow convince you that it has value through a title that you see in a split second. The Importance of Closure. That's not an intriguing title. That's it's a nice idea. It's important. But I would say most people kind of already know that. It's not, and it doesn't really give you any indication of what the video is about. The Importance of Closure. It could be a short film called The Importance of Closure. It could be me reading a poem called The Importance of Closure, or a song. You don't know. You don't know what that is. Most likely, it's just some guy rambling on about his ideas about the world, which is what it is. But to a total stranger, they're going to be like, why would I care about this guy rambling on? Whereas, whatever day it is, of bullet journaling, that gives you a more specific idea. This is a guy on a journey. This is a guy in the middle of a process. He's learning something. He's doing something. And I know exactly what he's doing. He's making a bullet journal. Maybe I don't know exactly what a bullet journal is. That's even more intriguing. I will click on that to find out. You see? That's how it works. That's just how humanity works. That's just how the transfer of information works. When you have millions of people uploading all the time, I don't know what would be a better way. I guess you have humans curating everything. You have algorithms. You have ways of organizing that are automated. And and indications that people like this or are watching this based on watch time or likes or comments. And that's what we do. That's it. I feel like we're trying to figure out the best way to do it, but the good title is part of the game. It's part of just how it works. And it's so easy to be cynical about that, to be like, clickbaity title. And there's a good reason to be cynical at times because people are manipulating you, I think. Sometimes they're lying about the title just to get you to click. That's the worst. But putting thought into a title that may seem like it's trying too hard to draw you in is part of the game. It's part of how it works. I mean, part of the art is to make it not seem like it's trying to draw you in, try to be as straightforward as possible. When I do it, all I do is just try to let you know exactly what it is. Sometimes that's hard with Wheezy Monday. Like sometimes it's multiple things. So I usually just try to pick the one thing that might be the most intriguing about it. But Wheezy Monday, I don't try that hard because this is mostly about just the regular subscribers coming back. Main channel Wheezy, definitely I'm trying to reach a broader audience most of the time, but as well as the people who keep coming back. So what you want to do is title it exactly what it's about so that when they watch, they're like, yeah, they might have been wrong. They might have still misunderstood what the title was, but try to avoid that. And they watch and they're like, yeah, okay. They put the title posed a question and now I feel like it's answering it. Closure. I drew it together. I drew the whole theme together. Closure. Wow. I'm amazing. Anyway, closure is what this is about. I wanted to talk to you about bullet journaling. Again, obviously, because I'm on day whatever, bullet journaling. And now I'm realizing I'm explaining to you how I title things and want to not be misleading, yet I just spent over 10 minutes talking to you about something other than the title. And I did not mean to do that. I had no idea I was going to talk this long about that. This is just how this works. And I apologize for that. But basically, I'm on day... Birdie saw a dog outside. Now I have Birdie in my lap. I'm on day 16 of bullet journaling, and I want to go through the things I think about it now. I want to list them in a bullet list style. But first, since we are well into this video, it is time to thank the sponsor of this video, T. Shanley, uncomplicated skin care for men. You ever like, I want to take care of my skin, but it's so complicated and it's not for men. Well, they solved that problem. Most of my life, I would just wash my face with bar soap, call it a day. In fact, that's all I would do all day, just wash my face, and then I would go back to bed. Didn't have a lot going on in my youth. But now I use this, and I notice a difference. My face feels smooth, feels nice, and I feel like I have a bit of a glow about me. Even Birdie thinks so, don't you? Right, Birdie? Right, Birdie? Right, Birdie? I was kind of hoping Birdie would lick my face, so I could say that Birdie couldn't get enough of it either, as a joke, but she's not licking my face. That's okay. It's not for dogs. Now I use all these things. The face wash, the super serum for all the Craigs in my old man face, eyes to monitor if I'm doing it right. No, actually, this is eye cream. It's not actual eyes. AM PM cream to get my face pumped. And I want Yes scrub. I use it a few times a week and it actually feels really good. It's like tingly on the face. If I go through periods of time where I don't use this, I notice my face feeling dry and craggy. I mean, it's always craggy because my name's Craig. The only good thing about this is I can use it as sandpaper to smooth out my desk and clear away all the tears of sadness from having such a dry face. Not working now. Face is too smooth from T. Shanley. And it also smells good. Smell that? I hope not, because that's not what you're smelling. Order any one of their systems and they will send it to you with free US standard shipping, and they also send to many other countries. You can control everything, switch between systems, skip a month, change delivery frequencies, and go to the bathroom however many times you need to. If you're in my house, that has nothing to do with T. Shanley, but that's something you should do for good health. And when you order directly from them, you get 25% off the retail price because it costs more money to tail something again. Because T. Shanley's sponsoring this video, they are offering a free DOP/toiletry bag with your first delivery. Just click the link in the description and get started for just $25, a quarter of $100. They probably don't want me to say it like that. That makes it sound like it's more. Like if you tell someone you have $250,000, they're like, then you're like $250,000. They're like, whoa! Okay, bullet journaling. Here is so far why it's beneficial to me. And a brief rundown of what it is in case you haven't been paying attention. It's a specific way of journaling that you take the year and you put down various tasks that you have to do throughout the year. And then you also do the month, you break down for the month, and then the week, and maybe even the day, or just the week and day could be kind of on the same page. And you basically just get a good, okay, here's a benefit of it. For me, it's like I get a good sense of my entire year. I'm reminded of all the things I want to get done, all the things I have to get done in the entire year, and it puts it in perspective for me when I'm working on during my day. I'm reminded of the goals for the year all the time, and I'm constantly able to know if I'm working towards that. I can zoom out and see the year, and then I can zoom into the month, and then I get a sense of like the things I would like to get done in the month. And then I zoom into the day. The zooming in and out, which you're not literally doing because it's a journal, but it helps remind me of my accomplishments and what I want to do. And it keeps me on task because all of those various perspectives, the big long-term perspective and the itty-bitty term perspective are always there. And my camera is tipping again. Darn camera. That's something that I've never really done whenever I've tried in the past to schedule things. I'm usually just kind of looked at what needed to be done that day, and just thought about it for a bit the day before. Like, what do I want to do tomorrow? What do I want to get done? And then just write it out. With the bullet journal, it's like, what do I want to get done this year? How does this day relate to the entire year? And for me, that's helpful because a lot of the things I am working on are things that are just ongoing. It's not like one little task. I want to, if I'm working on a video, it's like today, okay, I will work on this video for several days. I'm working on a documentary. That's like something that I have to check in on once in a while, but it's something that won't be done for many months and maybe many years if I don't get to it. But if I can constantly look at the schedule for the whole year, it's more likely I will think about that. I will think about the year and what the end of the year will look like based on what I'm doing right now. So that's a benefit. Another benefit is just the act of doing it. This is something that's good for journaling in general. Is just keeps reminding me of my goals, which is pretty obvious. Another one, it just causes me to question why I'm not getting things done. I'm looking at, on a daily basis, all these tasks that I wanted to do, and they're not getting done. And I'm like, well, why isn't that getting done? And it caused me to think about that. Like, think about my day, how my day went, and like, well, why didn't I do that? Why did I decide not to do that? And then I can look at, well, maybe I was just tired, which is what I would normally assume. But then I can look at, well, why was I tired? What was I doing before that? What did my day look like that whole day, that whole week, that whole month? So it helps me decide what I should do instead or not do so that I can get this done, which, because I'm reminded of my goals all the time, I'm asking myself, like, well, how does this relate to what I actually want to get done? The real important things that I want to get done. Because my day is filled with so many things that really aren't directly working towards a goal. Like, they're more like little maintenance things that I probably put too much time into throughout the day. If it's constantly on my mind the whole year, I will do the things that don't feel like they're immediately useful, but yet are working towards the big goal more often. It has inspired me to schedule even more. So the bullet journal isn't really, it can be probably the way I'm doing it, it's just kind of a list of tasks to get done in the day. Maybe I'll put a time in there here and there about, oh, do this on this time, do this at this time. But really it's just sort of like, get this done today. I'm not going down to hour by hour. But I do also use Trello to schedule things, as a task list, and I've added on to that. I think it's called a Boost. It's just like a little app on Trello. It's called Planyway, anyway, with a PL. So it uses Trello, the tasks I have listed on Trello, and I put them in Planyway, and then so this is a lot of stuff. It seems like a lot of stuff, but this is really the easiest way for me. So the bullet journal is really there to force me to think about what needs to be done. And then Trello is and Planyway is the software to schedule specific times of day, like block scheduling. I've only really just started doing that, but I'm finding that because it's working, and it's allowing me to allot specific times of day and measure how much time each thing takes. I'm actually paying attention to how much time things take. When you're your own boss and you're just relying on your own motivation, I often don't look at the clock. I'm often like, well, I'm just going to work on this until I just don't feel like it. But actually, deadlines and times is motivating. It can be if I pay attention to it. And scheduling these things specifically helps. To bring this back to closure, I was listening to Tim Ferriss podcast. Tim Ferriss, author of the 4-Hour Workweek, and he was talking to Jerry Seinfeld. It was a Jerry Seinfeld episode, and within that episode, Jerry Seinfeld said, well, they were talking about writing and how do you write, like advice for writing, and he was basically saying, have an end time. Pick a time to stop. You can't just. Nobody wants to do something forever. Like if you're going to go exercise, like, well, yeah, we're just going to do this. Just going to do it. We're going to exercise now, and I'm just going to keep telling you to do stuff, and you have no idea when it's going to end, or it's just going to go on. Like you're not going to do it, you know. Writing, people can sit down and write, and then just write and write and write until they're completely drained. That's not very exciting, and then you're probably unlikely to do it, to sit down and do it. But have a specific end time. I did the 10-minute rule video, which was sort of like that, but this is like longer than that, probably longer than 10 minutes. 10-minute rule sometimes can be used to inspire you to sit down. You're like, oh, it's only 10 minutes, I'll just start. It inspires you to start so that you continue for longer. That's one good thing about 10-minute rule. But that's not, there's no end time with that mentality, which can be demotivating, and also not necessarily demotivating in that moment, but maybe the next time you sit down. So when I'm scheduling these tasks each day, I'm giving them an hour. I'm like, I'm going to work an hour on the short film script I'm working on. I'm going to work for an hour planning future Wheezy Waiter videos. I'm going to work for an hour on Wheezy Monday. Although this Wheezy Monday is going a little longer than that. I took a little time to collect my thoughts. Weird thing about these, not weird, but a thing about these Wheezy Mondays is I make lists. The past few Wheezy Mondays I've been making lists of things I want to talk about, and I've not talked about everything. Because I'm like, I want these to be around a half hour long. I'm like, I can't talk about this for a half hour. Let's put more ideas in there. And I end up not even getting near everything because I've discovered that I can blather on about one thing for quite a while if I am comfortable. And I have no idea what I'm going to say once I start. It's actually, it's pretty eye-opening to me how once I get going and talking about something, new ideas flow because I'm talking about something. And anyway, I'm blocking them out. I'm putting an end time to each one, which is something I haven't really done. Well, I have, but usually it's like when I block the time, I'm giving it more time. I'm giving each thing like 2-3 hours because I'm like, well, yeah, I don't want it to be too tight. I don't want to feel like I'm rushing. I want to make sure I really get it all done. I think that's hurtful. That doesn't help, because it's really nice if I just force myself to stop in the middle of something, and then I'm not blocked when I come back to it tomorrow, and I don't feel drained that that's all I'm working on. So closure, you can feel like this is where rather than an open-ended sort of thing, and then you never really feel like, I never really feel like I accomplished anything. I feel like if I didn't finish, it doesn't feel like I did anything. But if I know that no matter what, I stop after an hour, then it will feel like I've done something. I go, okay, I did the thing I was supposed to do, and I did it at the exact amount of time I was supposed to do it. Good me. Good me. That's another... So this scheduling, all this scheduling isn't technically bullet journaling, but the bullet journaling has inspired me to do this, which is why it's good. Another good thing about bullet journaling is, speaking of it gives me a sense of what I've accomplished. I think I've had a problem where I just feel like I'm not doing anything when I really am doing a lot of things. I'm just not thinking about the things I'm doing or that I've done, because it's kind of hard to define sometimes. It's hard to define that I've thought about Wheezy Waiter videos, ideas for new videos for a while, and came up with some ideas. It's hard to look at that and think that I actually did something, because I didn't finish a Wheezy Waiter video. But if I bullet journal, do this, do this, do this, I can look back and see all the things that I have done and how far I've come in the last several weeks on this one thing that isn't done, or doesn't even appear like there's any work that has been done, but there really is. So it gives me that sense of what I accomplished. It also gives me a sense of what I can accomplish. It shows me how much time I actually have, especially when you put it in perspective of a week or a month. I can look at it like, if I look at it just by the day, I'm like, well, I only have this much time. But if I constantly reminded, well, actually look at your whole month. There are days in your month that have nothing. I mean, ideally I want some days, some weekend days with nothing, so I can spend time with my family so I can take a break. But there's even more than that sometimes within the whole month. So it shows me that I actually have more time than I think, and it makes me more comfortable, gives me less stress. So those are the things about bullet journaling. Now there's something I want to respond to some comments. This is also about closure in a way. Georgia B commented on the last video about when I was talking about social media and the news. John Green talking about how the social media plus news platforms benefit from users' anxiety, and how I, as a user, do not benefit at all, to paraphrase, has really helped change my relationship to social media and news. So, yeah, social media, news, because you're anxious, you're reading the news or checking in on social media constantly. There's something incomplete that you want to know. Something something itching away, something that doesn't have closure that you want to go back to and see if it's done. She went on to say, understanding that I do not have to know everything all the time at the very second it occurs, and I am not a bad person for wanting to avoid overloading myself with bad news, but I can be a more conscious consumer. Yeah. I mean, I'm drawn into social media a lot. Today I've been able to avoid it, probably because of all the specific scheduling I made. That helped anyway. But what keeps me going back is wanting to know what's going on in the world, a little bit of fear, anxiety, But the only way to alleviate that is to get closure. That's what I want. I want the story to end. I want us to feel like we've accomplished something, like we're on our way, we're with certainty towards something better. Or I want to know if we're on our way with certainty towards something terrible. But there's never certainty. There's never closure. It's always going to go on, and they make their money with you continuing to check back to see along for the ride of this going on and on and on. Not that I think everyone involved is doing this for bad reasons or greedy reasons, but that's just the nature of news and social media. It's just an ongoing thing. If you're checking back because you want closure, you're never going to get it. Maybe some things you will, but I think rarely. And it's that need for closure that I think, and certainty that we can't get, but seems like we're on the verge of all the time, that keeps us going back. And darn it, just keeps happening. But now I'm filling my days with little bits of closure. Artificial, maybe. Arbitrary times, sure. But it feels, so far, I mean, it's still kind of new, this specific scheduling, but it feels better so far. Especially when I'm working on something that's long, that's going to take a while, that's open-ended most of the time, like a script for a movie or a script for a short film or a documentary or all these WheezyWetter videos for the whole year. Every time I'm done, I don't feel done. But I can just look at the clock, like, done. That's something I just, as someone who works for themselves, as your own boss, that's something that is tricky because part of the reasons I want to work for myself is freedom to do what I want whenever I want. But I'm discovering that that comes with a price of anxiety, of feeling like you're not accomplishing anything, of wondering what you should do, and trying to motivate yourself. No one else is telling you what to do. But having these schedules, I think that's why these things like bullet journals and productivity gurus and all that is really hot right now, because a lot of people are stuck at home. A lot of people are working for themselves. And it comes with a lot of uncertainty, a lot of lack of closure. And so hopefully this scheduling keeps me on task, and this bullet journaling keeps me on task. So thank you, Georgia, for that comment. I want to respond to a few other comments. Nova Scott said, Stephen Covey said, I'm quoting his quoting, the main thing is to keep the main thing. Because I was talking about how I've discovered through bullet journaling that I'm working on a lot of little things that aren't really attached as directly to the main goals I want. But bullet journaling has helped put that in perspective. Thank you, Stephen Covey. Thank you, Nova Scott. The main thing is to keep the main thing. Always do that. It's so easy to not. And if I looked at it real hard, I could see that there are most things I do I could probably cut and get closer to my goals. But some things you need to do anyway. You know, like I still need to take the garbage out to be picked up once a week. I could stop doing that and let the garbage pile up a little while. Eventually that'll be a problem. Probably wouldn't be that much of a problem if I skipped a few weeks. And then I would it's not like that's something that takes up a lot of my time. But as an example, like, yeah, I could let some things pile up. I could let some emails pile up. Other, stuff with money stuff that I check in on. Like I pay off my credit card nearly daily. We spend all of our money with a credit card, basically, and then we pay it off. And I probably check that too much to make sure that we're paying it off. Check my email. Dealing with, I don't feel like it's that much of a problem anymore, but it's getting better. But like I'll check my email a lot and respond to things very quickly. Some things I let sit for too long, but I don't need to. Constantly doing that is adding extra worry. When I could just do it once every once in a while. Constantly checking Twitter for the news. I don't need the drip of the news all the time. I don't need that. It's not going to help me. It's mostly hurting me. Just check in once in a while. I mean, there's an argument to be made. I don't even need to check into it at all. Like, to news in general, or social media, or any of it. I've done an experiment where I went no internet several times, but also no internet, no TV, and yet I still find out things. People tell me things. I don't know. Somehow I learn. I figure things out. So if I just focus on the main thing, I think I'll be better. I'm happier when I'm accomplishing my goals or getting closer to them. That's about it. Check out the Tiege Handley. Click the link below. You get a free DOP/toiletry bag with the first delivery. Get started with $25. I do these kind of videos every single weekday on Patreon if you want to support me over there. I still got that $1,000 bold.org Wheezy Creator Scholarship if you want to check that out.